You meet somebody and you're like, instead of just kind of like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? They're like straight to it. Yo, this is what I do. What do you do? It's just like, bro, chill, relax. You're trying too hard. Like at a car group, man, I drove in this blah, blah, blah kind of car. Oh yeah, well, I drove in this one. Or like, man, I went to trial, got this case, I got this verdict, $2 million. Well, I just had a trial and I got 10 million. Okay. Sometimes I'll dig deep, like I'll have conversations to dig deep to try to find out what that insecurity is. But in many instances, I just let it sit. Hey, man, good for you, man. Anyway, we were talking over here. Now, the worst combo is the... Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the N2N podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. N2N, also known as the Ninja or Prolific Ninja by my family and friends and on my socials. And because my fans are my friends, you can call me Ninja too. This is the N2N podcast, the alpha to the omega, the beginning of the end, talking about life, motivation, drive, success, self-improvement, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Back in the studio, moving it back and forth from my office in here. Glad to be back. We're trailing on the tail end of the summer months. School starting for a lot of you all with kids now. A lot of things have transpired for me over the summer months. A lot of travel, a lot of building, setting up structures for the second half of the year. And in that, there are people that I've encountered along the way that I'm going to tell you about two that you should try to avoid. But before we get into that, I start my podcast as I start my day, which is when I wake up in the morning. The first thing I do is thank God and the universe, show some love to the universe, send out that positive vibe, hopefully have an opportunity to inspire one person along the path, but showing some level of gratefulness. And why do I do that? Because science has shown you cannot be grateful and have a negative feeling at the same time. So why not wake up every morning feeling grateful and start off with positive vibes? And with that, why not start the podcast feeling grateful for everyone out there? All of the people that have been following, supporting, subscribing, most importantly, sharing the content. Thank you all out there. If you're new to the show, we've been doing this for 3 years now, consistently putting out an episode once a week. And, we only grow this show through the support of the fans. I do this on my own dime, on my own time, which means with my own money and with the people around me, getting this content free out for you. And so we do this on a karmic exchange, which means if you receive some benefit out of this podcast episode or any other one of my episodes, that means you've received something for free. So to restore the karmic balance, which I'm a frequency karma, vibrational guy. If you receive something for free, you got to pay it back or else you owe. So don't owe me a debt. Just share the show, and that's how we repay each other, rebalance the scales of karma. So we like to say if your knowledge swole, share the show. That is how we grow. And so please do share the show. That's how we grow on our mission of inspiring billions of people across the planet to live to their fullest controllable potential. And so, as I started out, this summer has been a wild traveling summer, conferences, meetings, new markets, new territories as we expand, CuraConnector.com, the law firm presence, all the things that I'm working on a nationwide basis. And so that means meeting a lot of people. And when you meet a lot of people, just like your brain, the function of your brain is to filter out information you don't need and focus on the information you do need, primarily for survival, right? Your survival instincts. Your brain filters over 70,000 inputs on a daily basis or thoughts on a daily basis, and it's in millions of more inputs, and you're just trying to filter out what doesn't matter. Same thing when you're networking. You got to filter out the people that do matter, that don't matter, so you can focus in on the people that do matter and follow up and get things done with the people that do matter. And so in all these events, socially, professionally, or whatever, there's one kind of person that personally I try to avoid. Or, I'll meet with them, talk with them, but I don't want anything to do with them. And there's two types. But the first person type is, and I say this guy, when I use the word guy in this episode, that means guy and gal. That means anybody. But there's always one or two or more try too hard guys. In other words, they are trying too hard to achieve whatever they're wanting to achieve. They're trying too hard, whether the way they look, way they carry themselves, they're like overdressed in the brands. They're overdoing, trying to look the part. And I know you all have seen this in your circles and in the people you run with. There's always a guy, and again, I mean guy or gal, that is just trying too hard. Like, yo, give it a rest in how they act, what they say, what they do, what they look like. They just, instead of, you meet somebody and you're like, instead of just kind of like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? They're like straight to it. Yo, this is what I do. What do you do? It's just like, bro, chill, relax. You're trying too hard. Or they're overdressed, like I said, in all the name brands, mismatched brands, all the high-end brands, trying to just communicate or convey that they're it, even though it looks like they're trying too hard. Every event, every conference, there's just kind of a vibe. And there's always somebody that's just a try too hard person. And I don't mean try too hard in the sense of doing work. Like in terms of hiring people on the team to do work, yeah, I want the guy that, again, guy or gal, that is trying too hard, that wants to overachieve. I want that person all day long. But I'm talking about the person who socially is trying to give the perception that they're it by trying too hard. Because I walk around with the mentality, and you should too, is that the way people appear is actually a projection of their own insecurities. Unless you're a really, really confident person within yourself, like you are really, really secure in who you are, you're just who you are. But for the most part, people project out what they're most insecure about. So you actually think for me personally, when I'm meeting new people, I'm thinking the opposite constantly. As I'm having an encounter with somebody, I'm constantly thinking about what their insecurities are, because the insecurities is where people crumble, or fall apart, or become unreliable. And so when I'm meeting people, the try too hard guy, ultimately to me projects massive insecurity about who they are. They don't know who they are. Right? Because if you're about that, you don't need to talk about how you're about that. It's very simple. Right? In these elite car groups, these elite organizations where, like I said, there's levels to this. The most successful guys are often the quietest, unassuming, nonchalant, relaxed guys, because they already know they're about it. They don't have to project they're about it, because you'll know that they're about it. But the guy that is trying too hard, the try too hard guy to show you that I'm about it, is often the guy that's not about it. They're projecting a deep level of not fitting in, insecure, have been excluded all their lives and now trying to fit in, and you got to understand why they've been excluded. And so those people, I have found in my experience, is the most unreliable, because they're trying too hard. They're not built out of substance, they're built out of appearance. And then they try too hard by saying this, talking in a certain way, dressing a certain way that's just over the top, like too much. Like there's dressing nice and clean and all that, looking clean, but then there's too much. And you'll always know it. It's very hard to describe, but I'm guarantee you people that just are a little bit too much for what the occasion requires. And again, those people, and it's not because they got the wrong invitation, it's those people carry the most insecurity, and they feel they have to overcompensate by being the try too hard guy, right? There's a cousin to the try too hard guy. I said there's two guys I try to avoid. There's a cousin to the try too hard guy. And again, that's also in how they talk. Like the try too hard guy just is over talking. Like he's just talking too much, like giving away too much. There's a cousin to that, which is the second person I try to avoid, and that is the one-upsman guy. The one-up. They're always trying to, and again, guy also can mean girl, okay? They're always trying to one-up whoever is talking. Like at a car group, man, I drove in this blah, blah, blah kind of car. Oh, yeah, well, I drove in this one. That's trying to one-up. Or like, man, I went to trial, got this case, I got this verdict, $2 million. Well, I just had a trial and I got 10 million. Okay. So that person, again, for me, in social situations, the way people behave and present themselves is the opposite of who they are. I look at it as you're trying to project something of your own insecurity. So again, the one-upsman guy, even though they might have accomplished a lot, is still trying to overcompensate for some deep-rooted insecurity, right? So on a categorical level, people with deep insecurities, I avoid at all costs. Simply because it's an unstable base of persona. The personality is not built on substance. And so that insecurity then creates unreliability. And I can't deal with unreliability, right? And so if there's a one-upsman, even though it may have accomplished a lot, it's, it may not be substantive accomplishments. Good for you. Proud of you. Got it. But I don't have to associate with that, because the one-upsman is trying to always show them, trying to prove, quote unquote, trying to show how they are much better than you. Well, why would you need to do that if you're already good? You let your actions or you let your results speak for themselves. Why do you have to one-up everything? Right? Unless you're trying to cover up for something, some insecurity, some imposter syndrome, or whatever it is. But regardless of what that insecurity is, and sometimes I'll dig deep, like I'll have conversations to dig deep to try to find out what that insecurity is. But in many instances, I just let it sit. Hey, man, good for you, man. And then move on to talking to somebody else, or move on to a different topic or whatever. Right? Yeah, man, I settled this case for, $500,000. Oh, I just settled a case for $750,000. Okay, great. Good for you. Anyway, we were talking over here. That's what happens for me. Right? Now, the worst combo is the try too hard guy that's also a one-up guy. Sometimes they come together. That's like a double whammy. It's like, dude, I'm avoiding you at all costs. I just don't have time. Because again, how people present oftentimes is a projection of their own insecurity. And when you're constantly trying to one-up everybody and overdo it, to me, I have found consistently that is covering up a massive amount of insecurity. And people that have big insecurity, it's very hard to build anything with them because they're always unsure. They'll delay in their decisions. They won't commit. They're just massively unreliable. And so I avoid those people at all costs. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't avoid them. I just don't do real business with any of them, or I don't relate with them in any way, other than perhaps maybe for entertainment, because sometimes it's funny as shit. But anyway, because a lot of these guys and gals, gals, do this without even knowing. And so when they overdo it, like they what's the word? What am I looking for? When they're hyperbolic about how they look and all that, like way out of place, it's kind of amusing at times. The try too hard guy or the one-upsman guy. Cannot deal with them in any instance. So as you are out there, as you are building, as you are networking, as you are going into new groups, and fall is a great time because kids are back at school, the adults get to play now, the adults now get to focus more on what they want to do second half of the year. Great opportunity to network in this season right now, because people are setting themselves up for what? Bonus time, end of the year. So if they haven't been hitting your marks over the course of the year, this is, August, September, October, maybe into November, this is the period where people really step on the gas to try to hit their marks, whatever required for their bonus. So this is a great time to network, get yourself out there, find the right people, set yourself up for a great second half of the year. That's what I'm doing. But in that networking, meet a lot of people, as many people as you can. But like your brain is filtering out information you don't need to stay in tune with the information you do need, you also need to filter out the people you don't need or don't want and lock in on the people that you do want or do need to accomplish your goals. And so the two people among the many that you need to avoid, the try too hard guy / gal, or the one up guy or gal. So as you get out there, avoid those people, and I assure you, you'll be more efficient with your networking and the results you get from all these relationships that you need to build on your pathway to success. So with that, I'm going to end the show as I end all my days, which is, again, when I go to bed, I close my eyes before I close my eyes and fall off to sleep. I thank God and the universe. Again, you can't be grateful and have a negative feeling at the same time. So closing the day being great, I thank God and the universe for another day to be great, to have been great, hopefully, and hopefully inspire just one person. Hopefully today that's you, to live to their fullest controllable potential. And with that, I feel good. I go to bed and rest comfortably. And so with that, I want to thank you all for listening to this episode, listening to all my other episodes. Thank you all for supporting the show. And again, this is on a karmic exchange, which I know for a fact you learned something. So please do share the show. Do not owe me a karmic debt. Share the show. If you're knowledgeable, share the show. That's how we grow. Listen to all my, quote, company sponsors, which are my own companies: West Loop Law, PFASinjuryAttorney.com, CuraConnector.com, LegacyXToken.com, PureWallet.ai. Follow those, look at those, learn something about those as well. And so with that, be grateful today. Be great. And with that, be great today, but be even more grateful. And I look forward to bringing you another episode very, very soon next week.